Greetings and salutations, basketball fans. Welcome into another episode of Raptors Today. I am Akil Augustine, joined by these two gentlemen from the Golf Network. You got Sherman Hamilton, decked out in all green, ready to hit the links. And of course, you're ready for the elements.
Earth tones.
Earth tones. He's all about the earth tones. You're rocking your Raptor purple to get up there.
Yeah.
The links are in the trunk. The clubs are in the trunk.
No, snowed today.
It's true.
Clubs are.
No golf on snow days?
No golf on snow days.
No golf on snow days.
Okay, all right, my bad. I don't know.
Simulator, indoor maybe.
You know the blood is not about golf.
All right, let's talk about the Toronto Raptors. Raptors brand basketball. The big conversation at practice today was, will Scottie Barnes play? 3 games remaining. Why is this a conversation? For me, it's obvious, right? The NBA has that new 65-game threshold to be eligible for regular season awards. Scottie is sitting at 62. I know this is something the front office doesn't care about, but obviously for Scottie, it's nice to get those accolades. But I think they've done the right thing up to this point, holding him out recently when these games don't really mean much, Jonesy.
They don't, but there's also some other elements you need to consider, and we talked about it off air. First of all, your product. When you think of what's been going on in the NBA of late with all the teams, what did Sherman say last week? Racing to the bottom? Is that what he said?
Race to the bottom.
Race to the bottom.
Unethical basketball.
Race to the bottom is real. Like, you still have to instill some confidence in your fan base that some of our main guys, we're still trying to develop them. We're still trying to allow them to develop individually and as a group as we try to move forward next year. And
You're still getting a great product on board.
I've said this many times. When the Raptors drafted Scottie, they should have been 7th. They rose to 4th in the draft, and then the next year went from like 13th or 14th. What is that?
I don't know.
Is that a fine? Is that your phone making noise? They went from
my bad. It's got to be important.
It's
got to be important.
13th or 14th to 5th. And that doesn't happen overnight. Now, mind you, there were still some remnants of the championship team with OG and Pascal and Fred around, but you've got some guys that have been here for a few years. You're trying to build some chemistry. So, yeah, the product, and trot Scottie out to develop individually and with the team a little bit. You have all summer to rest and also work on the other parts of your game.
Now, Sherman, I got a different question for you because we got to talk about the other guy, RJ, and when I kind of teased this and asked it facetiously before the show, but has RJ been the best player on this team? Like, how would you characterize him? What title would you give him this year?
Well, I got a few buckets. So number one, there's a franchise guy.
Obviously, Scottie.
That's Scottie Barnes, no question about it. Then you have the MIP, and that's, to me, Jakob.
The most important player.
Most important player.
Okay,
He kind of just weaves everything together on both sides of the ball. Defensively, anchors it. Offensively, you run offense through him, screens and all of that stuff. He's a hub, yeah. And then you have the MVP.
Yeah.
And the MVP to me is RJ.
Okay.
I mean, when RJ's on the floor, we know he can score the basketball. But what he's shown is he has the ability to do so many more things in terms of being able to pass the ball, rebound the ball.
Things New York didn't ask of him.
Well, it wasn't asked of him, and he just did what he needed to do there. He got the ball after guys were done playing with it.
Grenades.
He got the ball, and he was like, go, 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 and put the ball in the basket. Yeah. That was his job. Here, more of a canvas to work with, more responsibility with the ball in his hands to be a playmaker, to do different things. His movement without the ball is very good.
Yeah.
He can rebound the basketball. And his individual one-on-one defense is good. Now, the weak side needs some help, but him on the ball, he's physical, he's strong, he knows how to move his feet, and he's going to compete in that situation. So I just like what he brings in, and I think the organization understands what they have in RJ from a leadership perspective. You can never have too many young leaders, guys who understand it and approach it as if they know the mandate.
RJ's he's a classic right now, what you're looking for in the NBA. He's a young vet.
But they're going to have to make a decision because the money is
funny. Hold on a second here.
With that luxury.
What are you looking for? You're looking for, he's 24 years old.
Yeah.
He's been in the league 5 years. He's been to the playoffs. Sherm says he's a leader. He's a classic young vet that you're looking for.
I love
There's still room to improve. And people are surprised, some people that maybe didn't pay attention early, are surprised at some of the skills that he's showing. He always had the playmaking, the rebound. He had all those things. But as Sherm mentioned, in New York, it wasn't asked. Stand in the corner, wait till Brunson and Randall are done with the ball, and then you get your chance. And what do you call them? Grenades?
Just straight grenades.
When you get the ball and you haven't touched it a lot, it's like, oh, it's my turn now. I'm going to do something with this. Doesn't always work out well, but you feel like you have to do something. And so it's different here for him. And you talk about, the tax situation. I'm sure that's what you were implying with
the
that.
ceiling.
Hey, man, go into the tax, even if you sign somebody, as the money keeps coming in and the cap rises, those deals that look expensive now are suddenly bargains.
All right. Well, hopefully that works out for the Toronto Raptors. Right now, I hand you over to Scottie Barnes and RJ.
Way different energy, different vibes, for sure. I think this year we really made a step forward in what we're building here. I think we got some good pieces in these younger guys coming in. I just think that just the team morale, everything is on a high right now for us. We know what we're building towards, so everybody feels good right now.
Hands doing all right. It's like a day-to-day thing. Sometimes most of the time it feels better the next day when I'm not doing too much, but it feels great right now. I've been off a little bit. It feels good.
After having the end of last season taken from you, why was it important, or why is it important for you to end this season on your own terms and not just sit out to rest the hand?
Of course, I was out last year, but I had some time off this year as well. I had dealing with some injuries on my ankle. I got hit in the eye one time. I was out for a little bit of time then, but I just love basketball. I love to play. So every time I'm able to be out there on the floor, I just want to go out there and give them all. Keep building with this team, keep getting better.
Back at it with the basketball addicts. I would just like to preface that ding on my phone was a notification, breaking news.
Wow.
You have an overdue bill, don't you?
No. I do, but that wasn't it, though. I had that one on silence.
Collection agency?
According to Shams, word is that the Denver Nuggets have moved on from head coach Malone, and we don't know what happens next. We'll gather more information. Producer Jake is hitting up the net. But in the meantime, in between time, we're talking Raptors brand basketball. We talked about the titles that Sherb gave, RJ and Scottie. I'm going to put you on the spot because we got to give a title to Jacoby, because this is a young man who came into this year as the top draft pick for the Toronto Raptors. Little known, right? Not well-celebrated NCAA player. And he came on slowly, right? They really took their time to develop, and now at this juncture of the season, he's getting a bulk of the minutes, except for last game. He got 18, and he's playing really well, but I guess they're trying to, temper any, I don't know. I'm going to leave it to the coaches. But I want to get your thoughts on this young man, because I like what I see. I honestly do. He's billed as a shooter, but it seems like he has a lot more, kind of like with Grady, billed as a shooter, but there's a lot more to his game, Sherman.
Yeah, I think he's a scorer. He's a guy who, started out the season injured, which is always a tough thing to do as a young player. And, when you see him on the floor, you just see that, oh, okay, he can dribble some. He can shoot it from the three. He can get to the rim. He's athletic. He can play a little mid-range. So as the season has gone on, you try to see how he develops and how he continues to build on that template. And we've seen growth. And young players can see it, but don't necessarily know how to execute it, meaning that physically they can't get by guys, or they want to get to spots and don't have all the tools in the toolbox to get there. And what we've seen is gradually over the course of the season, he's figuring out how to get to his spots, whether it's the mid-range, whether it's moving on the three-point line, whether it's getting all the way to the bucket and using his athleticism. So I really like what I've seen from this guy.
You're saying all these things, and when you're describing to me as a starter, in a right situation, he sounds like a starter.
Well, a starter or a guy, because he's so versatile and continues to develop all of these skills, right?
Because I'm hearing the ceiling is constantly being raised, and
right.
That's the type of player that you want to give more opportunity to.
Okay, he's a starter, but he could be a starter, but is he also a guy that comes in your second unit that provides something that was missing in the first unit when you make a change? Or does he give you an advantage when you're playing against other second unit players? I think his versatility will allow the Raptors to put him into spots where he can morph and conform to what they need, depending on what the game says or what the game dictates.
And the biggest step I think he's made is he's let us all know that he's a dog on defense.
Yeah.
He will get after you. He will get in you. He will make it miserable for you on the other side of the basketball, regardless of who he's playing against. And that type of fearless approach, you see it on the offensive end as well. So from the neck up, I love his approach, his toughness, his mentality. And from the neck down, you see so much potential with his skill set in terms of what he can be moving forward.
And that fits with, hey, if it's not going well offensively that night, I still have my defense. And he could be on the floor with the likes of a Jamal Shed, a Scottie Barnes, these guys that get after it defensively. That makes it tough. I mean, the last home game, you could see the Raptors picking up like 94 feet. And like not just token, I mean, they were pressuring people. They, getting 8-second violations. It was, and that's something that he can say, oh, this is what we're doing now. I got a skill for that. Let's do it.
I'd love to see the redraft this year and where he would end up now that his skill set and dog ability is more well known, because he's looking like one of the better prospects to come out of that draft. Now let's talk about lots of 10 days for the Toronto Raptors. Swider gets a 10-day to close out the year, right? We've seen so many guys get opportunities. AJ Lawson made the most of his. We've seen another Canadian, Omaruyu, with it. But Orlando Robinson, uncelebrated, unheralded, right? Not a guy with an opportunity or at least a contract for next year. But I've seen things from Orlando, and I want to get your take, because we haven't talked about him a lot on this show, on your impressions on what this young big man, who's had time in the NBA before but never stuck around, has done. Because I like him. I don't know.
That there is something that I wouldn't say is totally disappearing from the game, but the ability to stretch is something that is almost mandatory now. But being able to pass the ball, being able to play at times like a classic big man, screen and roll there, get the ball on the block, go to work. If the double team comes, dish it out. He has very reliable, traditional big man skills.
Is he on a roster to start next year? Because this is the question for him, whether he's on the Raptors or not. Have you seen enough that, like, I think I like him?
Yeah, I mean, unfortunately, it's not all dependent on him. Right?
Yes.
I mean, there's a lot of moving parts when it comes to rosters, especially in the offseason. And then how you get in is another situation as well. He's good enough to start next year in the NBA, to be a player in the NBA. No question about that. And I think you got to, when you're talking about him, understand that he's going to fit a slot.
Yes,
he's not going to come in and be your big man who's starting. He might not even be your second big man.
Okay.
He might be your third guy off the bench at center. However, he can move up to your second spot, and he can be stable and do some good things. So the reality for him right now, not saying it won't change the further along in his career it goes, but right now, he's got to look at being in a rotation.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
Yeah.
A second center.
There's nothing wrong with that.
I felt like a second center role would be a good spot for him.
He's in a good spot now in Toronto,
Yes.
coming off the bench behind Jakob Poeltl, right?
And being familiar with the team's offense and defense heading into the summer, I'm very interested for what happens to this young man. Right now, the guy that's in charge and responsible for all those decisions that I'm talking about is Darko. Let's check in with the coach.
This is your last home practice. Are you going to miss us, most importantly?
Well, we just completed the last practice at home, and energy was high level, focus was high level. Like you could never tell that you're approaching the end of the season, and vibes were really, really good. Guys were really logged into the practice today, and that's what you want to see. That you want to see guys invested and working hard, and almost in a certain way, almost like focusing on the next season and trying to lock into that.
I'm TJ Ford, and you're watching the Raptors YouTube channel. Check out our latest videos and subscribe to our YouTube page.
Works right, into the lane, puts it up and in!
TJ runs away, fades, fires, Timeout,